I'm Benny Politan. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on Closing Arguments and through the years here at Court TV. I've covered a lot of trials involving an allegation of spousal murder, right? Either the husband accused of killing the wife or the wife accused of killing the husband. And many times there are children who are caught in the middle of all of that. Sometimes the children are very young and they're not really a part of the case. And other times, and many times, actually more commonly, the children are grown. I mean, one of the things that I found, one of the patterns that I've seen through the years is that a lot of times when a husband is accused of murdering a wife, the husband is a little bit older, the kids are grown up, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, he's moving on in his life and he wants to get rid of his wife because he doesn't want to give up half of his stuff. A lot of times that's been the case. Or he doesn't want to break up the family. He doesn't want to look bad in front of the kids, right? He doesn't want to divorce mom, so it's a lot easier. I'll just kill mom. And sometimes the roles are reversed in all of this. But when those children are in the middle, the other thing I found, most of the time, regardless of, who the kids are and how smart they are, how educated, however, they don't want to believe that one of their parents has killed the other. And that's the allegation in the case involving Chad Daybell. He's accused of murdering his wife, Tammy Daybell, and also, Lori's children, all of that. But there is an allegation that he is the one, along with Lori Daybell, conspiring to kill his wife, Tammy. And now the children are speaking out. And we're going to get to that in just a minute, what they are saying and what they said. But let's begin by taking a look at what happened to Tammy Daybell. Ted Rollins has more for us tonight.
It's now clear that both Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell are suspected of killing Chad's wife, Tammy. Chad was previously married to Tammy, a healthy 49-year-old mother of 5. She died in her sleep. 10 days before her untimely death, Tammy reported that a stranger wearing a mask came up to her trying to fire a gun.
And the gun didn't go off, and she thought it was a paintball gun. She didn't know her guns, obviously. Okay, so then 10 days later, she's dead.
At the time, there was no autopsy performed on Tammy's remains.
The family did not want an autopsy, so they just went straight to the funeral home, and the family refused an autopsy.
This is a recorded phone conversation obtained by Fox 13 in Salt Lake between an Idaho dispatcher and a detective from Arizona investigating the death of Charles Vallow.
Autopsy, therefore the coroner just signed off then and there, and then the funeral home took Miss Daybell. Is that how that works?
Yes, that's pretty much how it works.
That decision by the Daybells to refuse an autopsy could have been overruled by authorities, but it wasn't. 2 months after her death, Tammy's remains were exhumed and examined and tested. Results have not been released. Adding to the suspicion surrounding Tammy's death, less than 3 weeks after Tammy died, Chad and Lori were married, and Lori's wedding ring was purchased by Lori on Amazon 17 days before Tammy was dead.
And tonight, getting new insight into this as the children of Chad Daybell spoke out to 48 Hours on CBS. Speaking to them, they're going to be airing that interview down the road, but they've released some of what the children are saying and alleging, and it has to do with Tammy's death and how Tammy died. Take a look. Chad and Tammy's son, Garth Daybell, says that they, meaning the authorities, police, investigators, told me that she'd been asphyxiated, but we never saw an autopsy. They've told us things before that turned out to not be true. Now, I know it takes a lot. It'll take a lot, and I don't know if investigators in some cases can never do it, can never convince children, and many times adult children, that their dad killed their mom. They just don't want to believe it, regardless of the evidence, okay? Regardless of what evidence. I covered a case up in Massachusetts, Dr. Dirk Gronider. His DNA all over the killer's gloves that were found close to the scene of the murder of his wife. He was with her. He admitted being in the park with her. The children, Harvard educated, Yale educated, did not believe it. And to this day, still don't believe it. A jury did, and Dad's gone forever, but It's tough, and they're in a tough spot. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. You wouldn't want to believe that. But what does all this mean? Where does this go? Let's break this down, because this is the first time we're hearing what the prosecution theory may be in how Tammy Daybell died. Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in Seattle, Washington, trial attorney Ann Bremner. In Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor and law professor at Texas Southern University, Michael Sterling. And in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Albert Wunsch III. Great to see everyone tonight. Ann Bremner, children don't want to believe that dad killed mom or mom killed dad. In this case, it's dad accused of killing mom. Adult children, they don't want to believe it. As a matter of fact, the daughter said, framed, that Chad Daybell was framed, and that's how those bodies ended up in his backyard.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, Vinny. I've seen it time and time again. We've seen in cases that we've covered too for court TV over the years. I mean, they're never going to believe it. A jury could say so. I mean, there could be a death penalty imposed in this case. They still wouldn't believe it. And the fact that she's asphyxiated and they don't believe that they've been told untruths before, they exhumed her body. You know, they've said it was asphyxia was the cause of death. And that's what they're going to go with. And then these bodies just ended up in the backyard. My dad wouldn't do something like that. It's his backyard. So I empathize with his kids, but empathize more, of course, with his ex-wife, who's no longer with us, and those children that were killed in this case.
Yeah, Michael, asphyxiation, right? It's a loss of oxygen, and kind of what the children are saying is, well, we don't know how she was asphyxiated. You know, maybe, something happened medically that just cut off the oxygen. The bottom line, though, this is gold for prosecutors at trial, because it's just very logical, right? Like, put a pillow on someone's head. That's it.
Yeah, sure. I think it's certainly something that prosecutors can use. The other thing that stuck out to me, Vinny, was the children mentioning that investigators had lied to them before. A lot of people may not know this, but the Supreme Court almost 4 decades ago sanctioned the right for authorities, investigators, detectives to be able to lie to suspects, witnesses. So police do often use this as an interrogation tactic, as a means of investigating, and often that can, cost them some credibility. And it seems like it has in this case, at least with the children saying they've told us things before that weren't true. And so that makes them a little skeptical of what they're being told now.
They also described a dad being very shocked that Tammy was dead the night that she was found dead in her bed. However, I don't think he should have been that shocked based upon his own words. Al Wunsch, take a listen to Chad Daybell, who's on the phone with his wife, Lori, and their family friend, Melanie Gibb. But Melanie Gibb is recording the conversation. Let's listen.
All these conspiracy theories just make me sick to my stomach. Just absolutely sick. I know I've been told for years that Tammy would pass away at a young age. And I had no idea that Lori would even be a part of my life. I just knew that my life had 2 segments. And that I know Tammy's on a special mission and she's with my kids. She's visited them. There's so much, Melanie, that you just have to have faith, and this is not some sort of master plan. There's no way Lori and I could ever come up with this.
Al, apparently he always knew she was going to die, so I don't know why he was shocked. And he talked about his life having 2 segments, like segment 1, raising a family, segment 2, middle-aged crazy.
Good point. And I think, honestly, it would have to be a dumbbell not to think that this Daybell killed Tammy. All right, because under the circumstances, it seems very fishy to me. Asphyxiation, and the kids were the ones that said, let's not do an autopsy on mom. Mom mysteriously dies and we're not doing an autopsy. I mean, dad was panicked from the Eric and Lyle Menendez school of yelling into a phone. What does that mean? It was all thought out. He bought the $35.99 wedding ring 17 days before she died. $35.99, Vin. Did you see that? $35.99 on the wedding ring.
That's because they didn't have the insurance money yet. They didn't have the insurance money yet.
Oh, okay. Well, $35.99. But nonetheless, there is no way that this guy is not guilty in this one. And the two segments, sure. Segment one ended when he asphyxiated her with either a pillow or he snuffed her out by giving her something in her drink that made her fall asleep and then suffocated her. Easy.
Now this is, and one of the other aspects of all this that makes me really question natural causes is that 10 days before she died, Tammy Daybell posted something on Facebook. Let me read it to you. Okay, neighbors, something really weird just happened and I want you to know so you can watch out. I had gotten home and parked in our front driveway. As I was getting stuff out of the back seat, a guy wearing a ski mask was suddenly standing by the back of my car with a paintball gun. He shot at me several times, although I don't think it was loaded. I yelled for Chad and he ran off around the back of the house. I have no idea what his motive was, and he never spoke, even after I asked him several times what he thought he was doing. I was about to smack him with my freezer meals from enrichment tonight when I decided to yell for Chad instead. And Bremner, you know, someone looks like they're attempting to take your life 10 days before you die of natural causes.
Well, right. I mean, maybe that's like the first attempt, and then plan B goes into effect, which is the asphyxia. And when she called for Chad, did he come? I mean, did he help her? I mean, he obviously set it up. How often does that happen to anybody in any neighborhood that someone with a ski mask shows up and attacks you? Unless you're under the sights, a target of somebody specific, and it turned out to be your husband.
Yeah, Michael Sterling, and you know, we heard this from the family. I don't know what the attorney's going to say during trial, but the allegation that the two children buried in his backyard, it's because Chad Daybell was framed. So do you think they'll run with that and say that Alex Cox, Lori's dead brother who died on the toilet, is the one who framed Chad Daybell for all these murders?
Yeah, Vinny, I mean, there's only a couple of ways that you can defend something like that. And one of the typical or key defenses that criminal defense attorneys use when it's at their disposal is someone else did it, right? And since Alex Cox had at least some tangible involvement in this case, defense attorneys have a plausible alternative to point to try and raise reasonable doubt in the minds of the jurors. They will point to Alex Cox and say, this is the person that should be on trial, except that he's no longer with us.
And that, you know, I could see those arguments for the children, but then he'd have to break into the house and asphyxiate Tammy Daybell to frame him for that one also. So we'll see what they do at trial, but amazing that the children are speaking out on 48 hours. When we come back,